Okay, Chris Peaks back here today with Brandon Moseley for our BCS State of Alabama podcast, and we've got a legendary figure here with us today, the iconic Charles Bishop. So, Mr. Bishop, I understand you grew up or born in Morrow Bottom, Arkansas, and I think you made your first million by the time you was 30. How did you come up become so successful?
Well, uh, I have to give it to my mom and daddy. Uh, my daddy, he couldn't read or write, and he was a sharecropper, cotton. And when you was 17 years old, back in those days, it's time to get out of the house. Of course, the old house, we didn't have any electricity or anything. But Mama told me right off the bat, we didn't have a church, and she was a preacher on Sundays. And they was I think three or four white folks on that big plantation, and probably 100 blacks. And she said, "Son, time for you to go out. Oh, excuse me, to go out in the old world out there. But let me tell you before you go, I don't know where God's going to take you, and you don't either. Uh, and He will be there for you, but you got to remember something, and that you cannot go out there and make a lot of money and be any better than anybody else. You can be as good if you choose to, but you listen to him. You can't make enough money to buy a friend." And I said, "Mama, I got a bunch of friends." She said, "No, you ain't, son. You got some you play with, socialize with. You don't have but one or two friends in a lifetime. Somebody that you can call 2 o'clock in the morning, come help you, or something you need to discuss with them, and it should be known to nobody else, just you two." And then she said, "You always remember where you come from." And let me tell you this, son, that's the last thing I'm going to tell you for sure. You can't get enough money in the world to buy your way to heaven. And Daddy stepped up. And like I told you, he couldn't read or write, but he had a photostatic memory. Thank the good Lord, I got a little of it. But he said, "Son, let me tell you something. You got to know when you don't know." Said, "You talking to a man about something, or boy, y'all talking about it. You both know something about it." And he changed the subject on you and start talking about something you don't know anything about, but you act like you know something about it. And in 2 minutes, he's going to know you're lying to him. And if you're lying to him, he thinks there's a good chance you'll steal from him. You just remember those things. When you make decisions, don't not just look at the front of the decision. Make sure you look at the rear end. He called it the rear end of that decision. So those two people, I have to give that to them because I've carried that through my life. And I was a young boy, and I went out in the world, and and Daddy told me this. I got me a job, not making hardly anything, but he said, "When you get that job, you work hard, and but you be looking for another job, good job down the road. But you work hard. You don't be late for work, and he will appreciate you when you tell him that you've got another job down the road, making more money and so forth." So those things, I can't sleep good if I thought I told you a lie. And so those things carried me down the road out of the cotton field. Daddy ultimately got out of the cotton field into the coal mines. My uncle was my uncle was working in a coal mine in southern Illinois. Daddy was born in Red Bay, Alabama. He always wanted to come to Alabama. I had got a job in that mine, and Daddy had a chance to come to Alabama, and he wanted me to drive him down here, and I did, and I was single. And it, I run those big drag lines. They wasn't any here in this coal field, and nobody knew anything about them. And I was lucky. I did know. I knew every bolt in them. I learned from my daddy, and ultimately, I worked my way into a little straw boss I didn't want to take, but they made me. And up that ladder I went. You know, son, you have a ladder against your house, and you can't jump up the top and fix something. You got to take it step at a time. So then I end up being a superintendent for a coal company that was broke. I didn't know there was when I went to work for them, but I worked hard to pull them out of that and get them back in the green real hard. And then there was another company I went to work for, and these companies where we were buying our products we had to have in the mines, them companies was watching me and seeing that I was making some people a lot of money. And I had an opportunity. And I'd go to Coach Bryant. I lost my daddy when he was 56 here in Alabama. And Coach Bryant kind of adopted me, and I'd go talk to him. And when I had the opportunity, these people seen me, and I said, I don't have the money to go in the coal business. And we know that, but we can take the equipment, and we'll show you how. And so that's the way it went. And I finally got in the business myself. And at one time, I had 5 companies, small companies working when I sold out. So I have been very, very, very blessed in my life. I hadn't seen a doctor in 40 years, up until about nearly a year ago now. So, and I've been in a way, the other thing that I want to make it clear, it wasn't because I was so smart. It was because I had good people around me, people that wanted to help me, work for me. And they really, my mom and daddy and the people around me, that's why I'm a millionaire. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
When did you decide to try the political thing?
Oh, Lord, we get into this stuff. Well, when I sold the coal company, we didn't have anybody in Montgomery really representing the coal companies here in Walker County and these counties around here. I didn't know doodly squat about college. I mean, I nothing. I was mining though. Really, how I did. I was mining down close to a lake here that we had to have so many thousand feet uh, to be able to mine some of that coal. And we had to have about 3, I think it was, ponds, settling ponds. In other words, we weren't going to hurt that water going into that lake. And I overdone it. It asked for 2 or 3 ponds. I made two more. Well, Smith Lake goes down real low in our in this place here. If you know anything about Smith Lake, it's a beautiful lake. But they dropped the water way down. So this guy come from Montgomery, an engineer. Somebody told him we was in the lake, getting stuff in the lake, and he come down, and he all the paperwork was there to show him what we had to do, and the lake was real low, and he said, "You're going to have to put another lake in." Well, if I put another lake in there, uh, or a pond, or what you want to call it, when the lake come up, it would be in that pond or lake, whatever you want to call it. Well, he went back, told Bill Baxley, and Baxley was over that back in those days. And here they come. I went to Montgomery, and I went in his office, and I sat down and I told the secretary I wanted to talk to him. She said, "He's got somebody in his office right now. He'll talk to you in a little while."
Now, Mr. Bishop, was this in when he was Lieutenant Governor or Attorney General?
Attorney General. And I sat there, I know, over 2 hours, and I said, "Ma'am," I said, "you reckon he's going to see me?" She said, "Oh, yeah, he will." Said, "Well," I said, "let me ask you a question. Is there another door back there somewhere he can get out?" She said, "No, he's got to come through here." I said, "Well, then go in there if you would, please, and tell him I'll be here for 12 o'clock tonight. I've got to talk to him." Well, of course, when that happened, it didn't take Baxley long to come out. And I said, "Let me tell you something. I want to help you. You're going to get in trouble if we do what this boy told us to do, because you're going to have that pond out in the lake, settling pond, and it's really going to hurt you because we're not doing anything against the law." Well, he said he didn't know, I said, "I got a helicopter. I'll pick you up, carry you out there, and I'll show you every bit of it." Well, I said, "I will take you out there. I'll bring you back. I'll show it to you, and then I won't bother you anymore." Well, he went with me, and he seen if what I told him had to happen, it'd be a lot of problems. So anyway, we got to be friends, and he was something else. And really and truly, he really talked me into running for the state senate. That's why I run. And I had some cold people, of course, pushing me too. We had port, didn't have good port down to coal that was shipping, and coal companies had to donate a lot of money to make that. So they were wanting me to go too. That's why I went.
So, Mr. Bishop, before we get into the political stuff anymore, I noticed that you had some stuff in there, a lot of memorabilia with Coach Bryant and a check he signed for a golf game, and you as an honorary assistant. Tell us about your relationship with Coach Bryant.
Well, Coach Bryant found out I was born in Mower Bottoms, Arkansas, from a fellow here in Jasper. They were good friends, and they played golf together and so forth. Mr. Taylor, and he found out I was born in Mower Bottoms, Arkansas, and he told Coach Bryant. And Coach Bryant wanted to meet me, and I went down Tuscaloosa one day at the meeting, and that's how I met Coach Bryant. And my daddy was, I thought real healthy, but it wouldn't. When he was 56, He got a bad cancer, and we lost him. And Coach Bryant told me, if I needed to talk to him and or somebody to talk to, well, he just really, I never forget it. When I was going to go in business, and scared to death, didn't have no money, and I went down there and I said, Coach, I got an opportunity to go in business, but I just ain't got the money, and I got a house, but I don't want to lose my house. And he looked at me. He said, "Boy, let me call me Charlie." I didn't like people call me Charlie, but I didn't say nothing. He said, "Charlie, let me tell you, boy, everybody gets opportunities. Very few takes advantage of it. But said some do. Some go broke and some don't." He said, "You got a good job?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "If you go broke, would they hire you back?" I said, "I don't know, Coach." He said, I could get them to hire you. You get your ass out of here, boy. I got a bunch of boys out there waiting on me. I'll never forget that. So I've been very blessed with people uh, in my lifetime. I'm 88 right now, uh, and I'm going to play some golf.
How many terms did you do in the Senate before you ran for statewide office?
Uh, two, two. I was in the Senate. Uh, it was two, and then I run. That one, I didn't know what I was doing. I just now the other one that I run for a reason, knowing that I couldn't win, but I could elect somebody else.
Now, I have a question about that for just a minute, but in that 1990 race, I mean, you had Secretary Hubbard
Yeah.
or AA, head of AA, Paul Hubbard, Attorney General Don Siegelman, Congressman Ronnie Flippo. Did you think you could win that race, or what was your reason for getting in it?
Well, I got in there because I was told go ahead and run, get my name out. I didn't have a need. I didn't know whether I could win or not. You know, I didn't think I could, but I got out there and got my name in, like I was told I should do, if I ever wanted to run statewide. Had not I done that, I don't believe I could got elected to the Department of Agriculture.
You served what, 2 terms as department as Commissioner of Agriculture or one?
One, only one. I got done what I went to go. It was a mess. I'm telling you, a mess. I reorganized it. I called every one of the people in the scattered all over the state worked for the department. I called them in the office. I told them what we was going to do. There was baby food, bad baby food come out, if you remember. And my wife had a fit. She's the one that really talked me into running for that. But I got there and I seen what was going on. I called them people in and I said, "Listen, I was in the Senate. I never come over here. I didn't know what was really going on. Just listening to other people, and I apologize. But I said, here's what I want to do." And I laid it all out to them. And I said, "I can't do it without you. I need you to do this and you could tell people you work for this department and you're proud to be here. Now nobody knows who you are." And it was a mess. I went to work hard. We laid it all out. We told the people every month what was going on. I would call news You know that probably, but I wanted people to know what was going on. We laid it out, and I'll tell you this truth. When I got it all done, in fact, you got somebody running right now. There's a kid worked for me, and I threatened to fire him, and he ended up being a good man to me. And you know who I'm talking about. He's a Democrat. I ain't run for a Democrat a long time. I'm gonna run for one this year.
You mean vote for one?
I'm gonna vote for. I'm sorry, I ain't running. If I run anything this year, it'd be the county. You know, I'll run away from this county, but I ain't running nowhere. What I am going to do is try to help that boy get elected if I can. It is, he says it's worse. I'm going down there in the next week or two. He says it's worse than it was when we took it over before. But when I called all them people in that I told you I called when I got elected, I called them in when I wanted to tell them that I wasn't going to run anymore. And I seen women cry and beg me to run again. I really love that group of people. And I'm really, really, really disappointed in a group in Montgomery right now. It breaks my heart. And that's Alpha. Alpha was against me when I run, but that's okay. Alpha was a part of agriculture, a big part back then. I helped them. We worked together, even though they was run against me. I didn't care. Then this thing come up this year. Really, well, like I said, I'm going down there in the next week too. I want to see what's going on myself. And if what's going on out here is going on, I'm gonna bust my butt to help that boy get elected. Because I know what he can do. Now the other one, I think he's, I don't think he come down the same road I did. I don't think he needs a job. He's a good old country boy, but I know what Ron can do. So I'll answer any other question you got.
So Charles, I see the pictures of you and Governor Siegelman, and I'm writing you a word, but you said that your main goal was to get Governor Siegelman defeated. Why was you so
Okay, I'll tell you that. I get a call, you see these boys out here on these roads with bush hogs in the state. They get contracts for those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there in the office and I get a call. And this man, young guy, he told me who he was. He had the contract. Well, they were trying then to pass. He called me and he said, Commissioner, he said he wants me to give him $25,000. I can't do that. And I told that boy to call me, and then he called me back and said, he didn't get $25,000, oh no, 20 come down to 20. He said, they're gonna take my contract, and I bought tractors to do this. Well, now how you think that made me feel? Taking advantage of somebody like that. Well, I didn't, and not only that, he had a guy that worked for him, but I had problems with the Department of Agriculture, but we worked it all out. But when he started threatening them guys out there who's working for a living, that got me. I said, okay. I told him. I said, I might not beat you, but I'm gonna give you some problems like you try to give them boys. So that's basically it.
Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
When I think they built Garrett Coliseum in about in 1950. Y'all inherited it, and it was the main livestock exposition facility for the state. Um, since then, the department has sold Garrett to the city of Montgomery, and the state, through Kay Ivey, has put money into a site in Jefferson County that Alpha is developing. I got an update from them last night, and they said that, things are moving ahead with replacing, Garrett with this new North Jefferson County site off of I-65. What is your opinion on all that?
I don't like it. I don't like it. It belongs to the people. And do you get an opportunity to tell them what you like about it? Do you think your neighbors out there, wherever, they don't? That belongs to them. If you got any property in this state, you pay your taxes. That means you own a little bit of this state. And I believe when I was in Montgomery, yeah, some of them didn't like me because I didn't play games with them. I worked for the people in the state, and that I don't like that. Did they call you and ask your opinion? They didn't call me. They called you?
No, sir.
Who they call? Who they call? I don't like it at all because you remember when we had it, we give it to the people. It was theirs. Rodeos and the things that we did, it belonged to them. I damn sure wouldn't try to sell it. Excuse my language.
Charles, going back to that 2002 race with Governor Siegelman, when you had a great ad, I remember it was like two newscasters that were talking, and at the end of it, one of them asked, "How will Governor Siegelman plead?" Did you have any knowledge that he was going to go to prison, or was that just a political ad?
Well, I was hoping he would. He threatening them damn boys out there trying to make a living.
In 2006, you returned to the Senate and you served a term, and I think you got into it with,
Lowell
the,
Barron.
yeah, the senator from North Alabama, Lowell Barron. I know this has been reported on to death, but could you briefly say what happened in that exchange?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I'm not proud of that. Second of all, you remember a while ago when I told you about my mama?
Yeah.
Okay. Not necessarily my mama, any women I was raised, it was yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. You didn't you didn't talk nasty to a woman, somebody's wife, or you didn't do that. You didn't talk nasty like that. And what he did was talking to that senator, that female from Dothan, I think it was, some down south.
Yeah, Harry Ann Smith.
Okay. He was talking to her bad, bad, bad. And I simply told him, I said, "Now, son, you know better than that. You don't talk to a woman like that." But he was laying it on her. And he said, "Ain't none of your business." I said, "No, it is some of my business." I said, "If you do that again around me, we're going to have some problems." I turned around, and when I turned around, he grabbed me by the arm and he called me and my mama. He called my mama a bitch. And I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit him right there. I didn't apologize. I apologize for everybody because that building didn't belong to me. And I hate it happened right there. But I really should have really I should have just jerked my arm around and got out of the way because he was parking pretty close to me downstairs, and we could have went down there and settled it.
Commissioner, or do you remember what it was that y'all it caused such a heated exchange that it built to that right there? What subject or bill y'all were talking about?
What bill?
Yes, sir.
I can't tell you right off. I can go back and hunt it and find it and tell you, but I can't. I don't remember exactly what it was. She wouldn't vote for him, and he got mad.
In
You don't call
2010,
people that. Pardon?
in 2010, of course, you didn't run, I don't believe, but the Republicans took control of the Senate. I think Senator Lowell Barron lost that year. Do you think that the Democrats in control, the arrogance, and some of the open, appearances of abuse of power played a role in that election, or was it all just national politics?
Uh, well, I think that was when I endorsed. I believe you're talking about the year that I endorsed. What's his name? It run past. They passed her from Arkansas.
Mike Huckabee.
Mike Huckabee. I was the only one that endorsed him, and we won that.
Yeah, that was 2008, the presidential.
Yeah, we won that in the state. So, uh, I, first of all, this gentleman sitting here beside of me, I'd never met him before, but he's a military guy, and he's got to be mean. I think he'd have hit him too.
Well, Commissioner, let me ask you, when you went back to the Senate in 2006, was you a Republican or Democrat?
Republican?
Okay. Now,
No, I was Charles. That's who I was.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah.
Charles, in 2010, didn't you run for representative that year from the Senate? And if so, why did you get
No,
that
no,
Senate?
no. What I did, now you're getting into this county, which I really can't talk to you a whole lot about
Okay.
because some of this is under. In fact, I'm be talking to the FBI again just pretty quick.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather not talk to you about
Sure,
that.
absolutely. I understand that.
I can just tell you ballots were involved
Okay.
and other stuff, but I can't talk about that.
Yes, I understand.
You were in there in 86 when Guy Hunt was first elected. How much change was it when, you were around anyway, when we had our first Republican governor and we sort of broke that Democrat monopoly, in the in the state government?
Well, ain't no question that to me, I mean, it's the best thing that ever happened. You look at the Democrats and the Republicans today. The old Democrats, like me, like I grew up when I got old enough to vote. I mean, it's Democrats. But it's changed when it started changing. Here in Walker County, for instance, the Democrats, they all just went over to the Republican Party. They just, they're still over there. They're, but they call themselves Republican. I'm a conservative. I can tell you that. I was a poor boy. I worked hard. I liked it, and I'm a conservative. I was going to, in fact, I was going down to the farm the other day. It was hot. I mean, hot, hot. And they working on the highway, and they stopped all of us. And this guy, he was black, and I could see the sweat running off of him up there. And I let some cars go around me, and I drove up toward him. I had a couple $100 in my billfold, and I took out $100 bill. Then I stuck it out the window to him. He backed up and he said, "What's that? What?" I said, "Son, you out there working your butt off, and you got some hen folks around is too damn lazy to work. You got to help feed them. So here, I'm gonna give you this." And he just had a fit. But I love doing stuff like, I mean, like helping people. There is people that needs help, and I love to quietly help a lot of people.
So Charles, like you was talking about how the Democratic Party of old, like I was raised a Democrat too, but now we're all Republicans. And you ran in 2002 again as a Democrat. Was there some issue in particular that made you finally say enough's enough, or was it just stuff that just happened over time?
Well, I think that started. There was one Republican in office in 1982 when I first elected. I mean, he was from over there around Birmingham. Nice guy. But I think I really believe it wasn't so much as we had to go to the Republican Party. It was where the Democrats were starting to leak off and going the other way. I think that and that group, what they call it, that got their own group back then. They were
Progressives.
Huh?
Progressives.
Well, yeah, they were progressive.
I mean, nationally, that's the progressive faction, which eventually became the Democrat Party after 2012.
Yeah.
You're not talking about the Blue Dog Democrats.
No, right? I'm talking about, I know what it is. It was a, if I could think of it, it was a group of people that come off national wide.
Uh-huh.
They wasn't Democrats and they wasn't Republicans. What was they?
Are you talking about with PRO, that Reform Party?
No.
No.
He knows. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I'm having a hard time remembering what the term was. We would now call them Socialist Democrats, but that wasn't the term back then.
They was some. You're right. There was some terms there. But at the back, at the rear end of that, when they quit, then the Republicans people started dropping off the Republican Party. I mean, and they did, and I think it was the best thing ever happened. We had some good Republicans. You down there now, you got some of them like Walker County. You got a bunch of Democrats calling themselves Republicans.
Where the state still has the two budgets, the general fund and the education budget. What can we do as a state without like ditching the state constitution to run the state more conservatively?
Oh Lord, now I can sit down. There's quite a bit there. There's quite a bit there. One thing, let's go back to the Department of Agriculture. We had our own law enforcement in that department, and we didn't have to have a warrant to go on property like game wardens. I sent them out there to school to work with drugs and how to handle it, to go with the sheriff's departments and FBI or whomever. That's all gone. Where did that money go that you're asking me about now about the budget? Where did money go? It's not just Department of Agriculture. I don't know what's going on down there. But I do know the Republicans is not doing strong enough in the things they know how to do. And that's where a lot of the money's going. in my opinion. Now, this is an opinion now.
Yeah. I
Charles,
do think part of the issue is that all the income tax money is by the Constitution, you know, is appropriated to the education trust fund budget, and you can't move it. And of course, all the gas tax dollars are earmarked for the roads and bridges, and you can't move it. So that just leaves the other taxes in there, insurance taxes being the biggest one,
Yeah,
in the general fund budget.
right.
And over time, Alabama Medicaid and the prisons have become have grown as a percent of their growth has been faster than the growth in the general fund, and that means that the other general fund agencies like the Department of Agriculture have had to give up funding for Medicaid and for the prisons. And that's been the whole time I've been covering the legislature since 2011, that's been a constant theme where, the general fund has been helped somewhat by the internet sales and use taxes, which it gets a big share of, but not enough to cover the growth of Medicaid.
You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. Well, I tell you what I did one time, and I think the state ought to do it. If you take Department of Agriculture again, we had I was in District 5 senator, okay? We had a hospital over there in that little old place in Pickens County. They were losing it. I went over there. They got me go over there and look. Of course, at that time, I had a couple of businesses, other businesses, and I sat down with them, and I could tell. I thought they were telling me the truth about it. And I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll help you if you let me look at your books." And they did. And this is what if I was your governor down there right now, you've got so far behind, it's hard to catch up. Just like you're saying in that house. What I would do, if you get to this number, can you make it? Yeah. I said, okay. I took taxes, looked at the taxes in that little county. I raised the taxes, I think it's about 2% or something. And I said, for 1 year, oh, I was the worst senator that ever come down the pike. Oh, raising that. 1 year later, they had their money and had a little over, and it faded away. Then I was a good senator then, because they were losing lives trying to get to hospitals. There's things you can do there. And in fact, the senator, the last time I run for the Senate, why I run. I didn't run. I run for your senator I sent down there because he wanted to go that. And I run. He asked me to run because his kids something to do with his school. I didn't want to run again. And he's still there. He's not a senator anymore. But look, you can't be nasty to people and expect them to help you if you're too nasty. But there is a middle ground in there called respect. You don't have to like me, but I want you to respect me. And I thought really we was going to solve the problem you just brought up a while ago. And then all of a sudden it started fading back off. You got a problem. That's all I can tell you. And you're right. You're right about. But you know what I would do if I was your governor? I'd be down there, Donald Trump, shining his shoes. If you could get some help from Washington, it wouldn't take too much. You take 2 years, not try to get it all in 1 year, and you could catch up. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Charles, there's a picture of you and Governor Wallace on the wall there. How was your relationship with the governor?
Well, I love the governor. I felt sorry for the governor, and when I first went down there, I was over uh, my buddy over here in Birmingham that you called the other day. Uh, uh, I was the first senator to be commissioner of the everything had to go across my debt. But back to uh, back to him, we was in the old building back then, and I go up the steps, and he wanted to talk to me. I mean, it was constantly, and I was rules committee chairman, and I was a freshman, and I didn't know what I was doing half the time. I was learning. The secretary of the Senate really helped me learn. He told me I had to sleep with the rules because I had them lawyers there, and I'm no lawyer. And he said, when they asked you a question, and say yes or no, and it's a question you can't say, and he said, they do that 2 or 3 times, you turn right around, do them the same way next time, and they won't do it no more. So, but back to the governor, he talked about all that stuff to me, just me and him. In fact, there's one of his secretaries. You didn't know that,
No,
did
sir, I didn't know that.
you? Well, we got together long after I left Montgomery, or when I was leaving Montgomery. But anyway, uh, I really felt sorry for him. I mean, he was just, he went through a lot. He went through this thing with the black and whites, and he went through a lot. And the last time we were coming from Gulf Shore or somewhere, he was in his bed at home, and they told me he wanted to see me, and I stopped. He couldn't talk to me. You had to take a chalk on the board to talk to him, and bless his heart, and he was dead shortly after that. So yes, he made a lot of mistakes. We all make mistakes. Oh, I've made some boo-boos. One of them was hitting that boy on the Senate floor, but I've made some boo-boos. So yes, he was quite a man.
Commissioner, we just had a special session in June. That's probably, unless something happens here or we get construction delay, probably the last time we're going to actually meet in the old state house, and it's going to be replaced by the new state house. I've been told within just about 4 months. Um, do you have any memories of, just the old building? And I mean, because you were in there pretty much from when they just first moved over there, and now we're about to see the end of it.
Well, yeah, yeah. You remember they said people said to come when you was in session, don't you? Right over your head. You
Yeah.
remember that? Yeah, the old building is it's a special building to me. Because there was some great people who went through that old building. for Alabama, and I hate to see it go fade away.
So Charles, there's a picture on your wall about the flag flying over Iraq during Iraqi freedom. Can you tell us about that?
What now?
The flag that was flying over there for you for Mr. Charles Bishop during Iraqi freedom. Can you tell us about that?
Iraqi freedom.
Yes, sir.
What?
We were in Iraq when they were in Iraq. That was given to you by
Oh yeah. Who was it? Who did you? I got so many of them stuff. I don't. I have to look at.
let me think of his name.
It says on it says Gordon Guthrie, Lieutenant Commander or Lieutenant Colonel USA, Deputy Marine Corps Commander.
Staggs. Staggs
Okay.
was his last name.
Yeah.
He was a friend of ours and worked in our campaign.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don Staggs
Yeah.
Okay.
gave that to
Yeah.
you. He spent time over in Iraq. Yeah. And he brought that back.
Yeah. I've got friends. I feel bad that I don't come to Montgomery. You had seen me down there. I should, after what Alabama's done for me. I come to Alabama. I had and the state has really been good to me. And I haven't. I still get aggravated at some of the crap going on. I should have kept my mouth shut. Now I'm too old for that. I sure ain't gonna be slapping nobody at this age.
Commissioner, we've had you on for 55 minutes now. About all I had. Is there anything you would like to add, or does unless Christopher has something?
No, I think that's all the questions I got for him.
Well, I'm real concerned about Department of Agriculture, the shape it's in. I'll be down there. Maybe I can come see you.
Yeah, give me a heads up. We're still out here at the old Alabama Gazette office. We're one of the last of the physical newspapers.
Make sure you I get your phone number, and when I go down there, I'll see. I can go down there and go on those floors. I can go out there. The rules.
Yeah.
I can
Although what my understanding is they're packing up all the desks and the chairs and all that's going into storage by RSA someplace. There may not even be chairs on the floor anymore. Because they were already moving them out, after the end of the regular session, and then Governor called the special session and they had to go find where the chairs and the desks were.
I'm not. See, I wasn't aware of that. I'd have went and got mine.
It's probably in storage. They told me because of the old black mold that's in the whole building, they are not keeping any of the furniture. It is all going to be new stuff in the new building. There will be none of the old stuff moved over.
Well, I'm gonna check it. Check that. Thank you. I've enjoyed talking to you guys.
We've enjoyed talking with you.
Didn't jabber too much.
No, it's just been a great listening to these stories. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Brandon.
Thanks, Christopher. Thank you, Mr. Bishop.
Yes, sir. Thank you.